I'm going to get into Deshaun Watson. And what the heck should the Browns do with Deshaun Watson? Because, oh my goodness, is this guy bad? Is this guy bad? And might I add that he has a ridiculous contract. They obviously gave him a fully guaranteed contract. Was it 230 million? Might even have been more than that. So if you're the Cleveland Browns, what do you do? Well, first off, there's not a ton you can do. He is in a you have put your team in a hole, in a complete hole financially. And when you're in a hole financially, the team's in a hole because you can't do a whole lot. Deshaun Watson is from what, and again, like I said, I was rooting for a Deshaun Watson revival because I wanted him to be good for my fantasy team. And I thought, you know what? Maybe Deshaun can turn back the clock. Maybe. I don't know. Could he do it? We've seen Deshaun Watson as an elite level quarterback in this league. We've seen him as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So I thought, was it that crazy for me to suggest that he might be able to get back to that? I guess it was because he is terrible. I mean, seriously, I watched a whole lot of that Browns game, and oh my gosh, it was bad. I mean, like I mentioned, like I said, I touched on it earlier, he doesn't know where to go with the ball. Right when that ball is snapped, he's just freaking out. That pressure comes, and they were going against a Cowboys pass rush that was a wildly long stutter. They were going against a Cowboys pass rush that looked pretty good, and they were getting to him. But I mean, Deshaun was like, he couldn't step up in the pocket. If he stepped up, he'd go right into somebody. But it was his fault. Like, he didn't know where to go, and he looked slow. He looked sad. Like, he looked like every time the camera panned to Deshaun Watson, it was just like he was like sad the whole time. I almost felt bad. I guess watch the words because a lot of people don't like Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I'm not thinking much about the off the field stuff because who knows. But all I'm saying is Deshaun Watson is not a good quarterback. And I think a Deshaun Watson revival is far out of the realm of possibility. I don't think it's even remotely even going to happen at all. He's not good. So, okay. So the question is, if you're the Cleveland Browns, what the heck do you do? I mean, do you feel obligated to play the guy who you're paying all this money to? Right? Because some teams feel the obligation. It's like, well, shoot, we're giving this guy so much money. He's got to be the starter. For the betterment of the team, for the betterment of your receivers, for the betterment of your offense, do you go ahead and start Jameis Winston? You don't start DTR. He's bad too. But do you go ahead and start Jameis Winston? I'm not the biggest Jameis Winston fan overall, but I mean, he would definitely do better than Deshaun Watson has. I was watching First Things First on Fox Sports 1 with Nick Wright and Chris Broussard, and Nick Wright was saying he believes that Deshaun Watson will start week 4, which might be a Thursday night or a Monday night game. It might be a primetime game, and then that will be his final start as a. No, it's not a. I don't know if is that a Sunday night game? No, it's not. Week 4, they're going against the Raiders. But he was saying that he thinks that'll be the final game for Deshaun Watson as a Brown, as a starter. They'll put it in the backup. I could see that happening. Listen, it's tough because it's like, what do you do? But you're paying all this money to him. You can't really cut him. You can't cut him because then you're gonna have to pay 170 million. You want to wait a season to cut him. I was learning all this earlier today, and you're gonna have to pay 123 million. I mean, this guy's getting money. You paid him so much. Best case scenario, if I'm being completely honest, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, would be you hope all this off the field stuff gets to him, and that they put him on the exemption list in the NFL, and that lets you pretty much be liberated from this contract. I don't know exactly the logistics of how that works, but that's what they should be hoping for, because Deshaun Watson is holding back this team. He's holding back Amari Cooper, and he's holding back the offense. That Browns offense was one of the most disgusting offenses I ever seen outside of the one drive. I mean, Deshaun Watson's dropping back. He's throwing deep balls, and he's missing guys by 20 yards. He threw that ball to the sideline, and I'm blanking on who the receiver was. Solid route. If it was placed right, could have been caught. He threw it like 10 yards out of bounds. It wasn't even close. Overthrew Amari Cooper a couple times way deep, like way deep, missing guys by 15 yards. He had one good throw in garbage time in the end. It was actually a really good throw. Um, Amari Cooper was pretty much running a go route down the side, and he laid it, and he was open, and he laid it right in his hands, and Amari Cooper dropped it, which is not like Amari Cooper. But listen, Deshaun Watson doesn't look good. If I'm the Browns, I'd go ahead and start Jameis Winston. I would. I think he gives you because I think the Browns have a solid defense. They went against the Cowboys, didn't look great. Cowboys offense was rolling, but you go ahead and start Jameis Winston. I think you do. I just think that's the best for the team. It doesn't even. I don't even know if guys like Deshaun Watson. I saw a video of a offensive lineman. I want to say it was on the ground after a play, and Deshaun went over there to help him up, and he hit his hand out of the way. And then he was about to get up on his own. He didn't want Deshaun's help to get up. I don't know if guys like Deshaun Watson. I don't know if he has the locker room. I don't know if he has the ownership. I just think this, and I think the Browns management now is feeling it. They're like, we made a mistake. And I understand to take a gamble, right? Because like I've said, we've seen Deshaun Watson be an elite quarterback in the NFL. We've seen that. But this went south fast and they took a risk. The problem is they gave him a fully guaranteed contract. So all that money is his regardless, unless this whole exemption list thing happens with the off the field stuff. Then I know there's some sort of loophole the Browns can figure out to get out of this. Again, all that contract stuff is so nitty gritty. Sometimes I just don't understand it. But I mean, there's a way, but this is a guaranteed contract for a guy who's playing dang near as bad as Daniel Jones. Like Deshaun Watson has gone from a top 5 quarterback to a literal bottom 5 quarterback who shouldn't even be starting anymore. That's how bad he is. And I was kind of like, you know what? I had a little faith, like, man, he could turn back the clock. Give him a little time. It ain't happening. I don't know what the heck you do if you're the Browns, but my suggestion would be to bench him and put in Jameis Winston for the betterment of the team. I think he would do a better job of leading this offense.